Hello and welcome to the Yarnings podcast. I'm Christine and I'll be your host. This is episode 38. I think I'm calling it Making a List. It is Tuesday, December 9th. I'm getting back on my regular Tuesday recording schedule, probably Wednesday releasing schedule as I had been. That seems to work out pretty well. I can record Tuesday afternoon and then get it all ready and going to publish for you guys on Wednesday. So it is actually icy sun. There is sun behind you guys. A little bit of, it's been raining all morning, but it's a little warmer. It's 55 degrees. That's pretty good for a November. I'm pulling yarn out of my bag. That's what that motion was. Trying not to make all the noise in the world while I do that. So, let's jump into some life stories. So this last week was fairly uneventful. I spent a lot of it still recovering from my busyness. I talked to you last on Wednesday, so Thursday it was terribly wet and rainy and I had to leave the house for an appointment, so I got drenched trying to make it across town on the bus. And so that was a little crazy, but I did get to go on a date with my husband, which is always a bonus. And then Friday was Aunt Christine's knitting school. That's what we call the day. It's usually once a month where my niece comes over and we knit. But most importantly, we sit and talk. And she tells me stories about school. And we talk about what I'm knitting on. And sometimes we have lunch. And it ends up being a really nice time for the two of us to spend together. When we started it, she was doing a lot more knitting. She's good at it. She knows what she's doing. She just is a little distracted right now. So her capacity for actually working on the projects in front of her is a little bit less, and that's okay. I'm glad for the time with her. The hat that she's working on is a pattern by Marnie McLean. It's knit, but we're doing it knit in the round because she saw me doing my sockhead hat and wanted to do that as well. It's a fuzzy yarn, so it's a little hard to work with, and she's still trying to get the hang of 1x1 ribbing. That's been a little bit harder for her to figure out where she's at, and I think it'll be a lot easier when she gets a little farther. So that was lots of fun, and she brought over her Tan House Brook shawl, which is a pattern by Jennifer Lassant, who's Boston Jen of Down Cellar Studios. I had knit it for her this fall and, September, and I never got any good pictures of her, so I hadn't had an opportunity to enter it into the Stockinette Zombies self-striping knit-along, and that was one of my self-stripings for the year. So she brought it over, and she's apparently been wearing it to school, and I'm really glad that she's enjoying it. It looks really cute on her. I don't think there were any that were self-striping when I knit mine. There might be now, but it was a really nice way to show off the self-striping yarn. I did make it a little longer with short rows on either end to make it more scarf-like, and that was a really nice mod for her. So she asked me why the edges curl around, and it's the drape on the biasing. So when you've got a edge that you're increasing so much on, it kind of flutters around, and so I was trying to show her some of mine, and we talked about that a little bit, and that was a fun thing that she had noticed about her shawl. Besides that, we've battled the crowds a few times, trying to get ready for Christmas, trying to get ready for the decorating we wanted to do, and that meant going to Target. I had wanted to see if they had any ornaments that were kind of in the same series of the ones that I got last year. I had these really cool little gems and bells that were from the same color palette, and then a tree topper that's a big snowflake star, and they didn't have anything like them at all. There was nothing that even I walked around all the displays thinking I was going to find something I was really excited about to add to my tree for this year. I just really didn't. So then the next day we went to Craft Warehouse and I got some ribbony garland things, and that helped a little bit. So we've got the tree all decorated now, and I added one more little addition this morning, and so I think I'm done with it now. It's got really cool lights. We did white lights in the middle, and then put the fake tree branches in, and then blue lights around the core of those branches, and then there's purple ones on the outside. It could have used a few more purple ones. I got the purple ones after Halloween, and they were shorter strands. So instead of saying ho 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 on them like the blue ones from last year, they say something about spooky. They're orange packages instead of red and green. And they're not LED, which I would prefer to have LED. The other ones are LED, but these ones were on super clearance, like 60% off. I think we spent like $6 and some cents for 3 boxes of them after Halloween, so couldn't pass that up, even if they die after 1 year. The other purple lights that I have are actually behind you. They're on my studio lighting. I have the purple lights because that make me happy in here. And they're around the base of my monitor behind you as well. I love purple. And then, what else? Oh, we went and played games. I'll talk a little more about that in the Sagas of Geekery segment. And yeah, just doing a little other decorating and some other cleaning and getting ready for some holiday happenings, and trying to celebrate sanely. So, with that, let's move into the yarnings for this week. Adventures in knitting. I have no finished objects this week. With the pile of them I had last week and the number of new whips that I had last week, I really didn't expect to have finished anything by today. So I'm just plugging along on all the things I've been working on, and I'm totally fine with that. So I'm at the middle of my row here, but I'll go ahead and show you. I spent some time on my color affection this weekend, and I even realized that I didn't have to do short rows all the way to where the end was. I was thinking for some reason, this is, it's kind of in a bad place to show you, but that's okay. So I was thinking that I had to eat up all of these stitches still with the short rows. And I went back and looked at the pattern this morning, and sure enough, it told me I need 9 repeats of six color changes. So it's the 3 color sequence, the 3 different colors times 2, because there's something different you do every other row. And I needed 9, and I counted, and I had 10. So I went farther than it even told me. So check it out. I'm working on the big purple stripe. This edge here will have the purple stripe. So here's the top. Here's the 2 color section. Here's the 3 color short row section, and then the bottom will be the purple. And it said for 2 inches. I've got loads of yarn, so I'm just gonna zoom along, and I'm really excited to be that close. I'm thinking I might actually wear it on Christmas with my custom fit sweater. I think that even though it's fall-y colors, it's going to be a beautiful wrap, and because the custom fit sweater is a neutral color, it doesn't have a lot of flash. I think I could put this on top of it and then take it off when I get to Christmas Eve event, and it would be lovely. So that's kind of what I'm leaning towards right now, so that I can wear this in a soon fashion, because it's going to be close. I did 1, 2, 3. I'm on the 4th garter ridge, and I think I need maybe 10 to get to 2 inches-ish. So yeah, that is coming along, and I'm really pleased. I've been working on this since right after Rhinebeck I cast it on, so it's really kind of been a background project, but it's been really nice because so autopilot. The beginnings of the row has been the only real difference for quite a while, and now I have the beginning and the end. Not that much harder. So, first work in progress, my color affection. My second work in progress, let's set that one down, is my Fruju Daybreak. Let's see if I ended that in the middle of the row. Sure enough. Oh, and look, I even dropped stitches, you guys. That was not so cool. All right. I stuck them back on that needle. They're not perfect, but we'll fix it later. So I got finished with all of my beautiful sky color and started adding in the rainbow. So the blue is Sheep Dreamery in their Kedges base. The colorway is Lakeside Sheep Dreamery. And Fruju is from Highland Handmaids. This was a color dyed special to support Wendy Silly Fru with her leukemia treatment, and I am loving it. I'm doing kind of a mini knit along with Karen Balky, and hers is looking really great too. So this is going to be fabulous. I'm really excited about it, and it's so much fun to knit on. And I did quite a bit of it while we started listening to the next Discworld book, so it's kind of linked with that in my mind. I don't know if you guys do that, where you listen or watch something while you're knitting, and then when you pick up your knitting, the memory of what you listened to last pops in your head. It's some sort of sensory connection for me, where like there's a top that I knit, and I knit a bunch of it during a marathon of the Die Hard movies. And so when I even pick up the finished top, I have that immediate return to those scenes. I don't know. So yeah, a little bit of Discworld memory going on with that. The Fruju looks like that. And if you watched Erin from Anatomy of Knitting's second to the last episode, I'm catching up, the one she recorded on Thanksgiving, she knit a sockhead hat out of this, and it was awesome. So these are the two, and they are in my Girl Cave bag. Oh, there we go. All right, so my other work in progress is my test knit that I'm doing for Julia, who's Wee Sheep. It's in a nice olive green. I'm not going to show it to you yet until I get the okay to do that, but it is coming along nicely. I was supposed to have it done by tomorrow, and I worked on this pretty exclusively for 3 or so days, the last 3 or so days, with the exception of my color affection on Sunday when we were gaming. I did a lot of work on this. So that definitely was part of my knitting time this week, but I'm not going to show it to you yet. And it's in my Michelle with 1L bag, which is reversible. Hi, Michelle. All right, final work in progress. My Neon-tastic socks got some love during Aunt Christine's knitting school and a VKN I had. I'm doing an interesting little slip stitch motif diagonal on the socks. I think it's kind of a fun addition. I did a couple things trying to make it work better, and I'm liking it. It's really fun. It's not perfect, but it's going to be fun, and it might be some similar idea that could be used with a little improvement. I can see some things that I might have changed to make it look a little more clean. But this one specifically is striping really neat because the slip stitches are coming out in the rainbow color order. And I reinforced the bottom of the foot so that it, because that's where I wear it out. So it's a little bit plusher on the inside of that one. So I have probably 2 halves of feet. And so yeah, that one I really only worked on Friday this week. I was busy with the other stuff. So that's coming along in my Just Lou cupcake bag. All right, so my needle adjacent projects are not very needle adjacent yet. I'm still kind of deciding. I did sign up for a class that Hoagie Locatelli and Vera Valimaki are doing a tour, and they are only coming to 2 towns in the US together, and one of them is Portland. They're coming to Happy Knits. And I've knit several things by Vera, including the Color Affection. I didn't give you guys any of the stats on any of the things I'm working on. Bad podcaster. You'll see them on the screen. I didn't think about that till just now. I guess because they're all works in progress and I've been talking about them for so long. So anyhow, back to what I was saying. So Vera and Hoagie are coming to town in February, and I signed up for a class. And the class is about sweaters that fit, and I'm really excited about that. And so I have a Hoagie pattern that I'd like to knit, the Japan sleeves that I've been looking at for a while out of some Madelinetosh light, which is on this little tray right here, waiting, because I think I'm going to use 4 colors. But I might hold off on that and let that be the project that I'm working on while they're here, because that would be kind of a fun thing. Not that I don't have other ones by them in my queue or anything. But I think I want to knit with my big giant skein of Briar Rose. I have 2 of these. The light's a little off because it's getting the color. It's much more desaturated. It's not as blue as what it's showing up. My happy light is on that side of the screen, and so it's kind of skewing things. Anyhow, it's a big, giant thing of yarn. And, oh, that's going to look so happy. So, the pattern I was thinking about doing is Idlewood by Cecily Glauc McDonald. But it's got a big, giant cowl, and my last sweater had a big, giant cowl. And so, I'm thinking I might try and do something with custom fit, because I enjoyed that so much. I can use my measurements. But what I'd really like to do is something shorter sleeved and longer length, more like a dress. Maybe V-neck, maybe with some sort of an accent at my underbust, like an empire waist kind of idea. And so I need to swatch. First I need to wind up these big giant balls, and we'll see how well my jumbo ball winder does with that. I haven't done anything this big. These are 750 yards. So I'm not sure that it will do all of it, but I'm going to give it a try, and then I'll hand wind whatever doesn't fit. So I need to swatch, but I'm really itching to cast on a sweater. So I think that swatching for that will be eminent, because I'm only really working on shawls right now, and I'm ready to have something else on the needles. Not that I think I want to carry these around at Christmas time, but I want to be working on them. It would be an awesome memory to be able to know that this was what I worked on over the holiday season at home. So, yeah, I think that's my plan. I think I'm going to ball them up. I took them down off the shelf to show you guys today, and that's a good step towards getting them balled up. And I have a list somewhere right here. I don't know where it went. I have a list of all of the sweater quantities of yarn that I have, and a plan for what I was going to do with them. And I know basically what they all are. I've got them all in my queue. It's just I had a really nice list that kind of sorry, I lost my train of thought. I had a really nice list that kind of encapsulated what I was going to work on towards the end of this year. So I'd really like to pull that out and compare it with my current thoughts and add some of the new things that I got, because I have gotten a few things like that pink. I don't even know where it is. It's in here somewhere. That pink that I got at Rhinebeck is the other one. There's 1,200-ish yards of that. And so yeah, I want to look at my list. I know I have some very old Noro that I'd like to work with, and kind of start making a plan for next year. Not a firm, here's what has to happen, but just kind of assessing where I'm at. And on that same note, kind of going through what my knitting resolutions were for this year and see what needs to transition over to next year. And that's actually really exciting to me. So that's another list I'm working on. All right, so that's my needle adjacent. Let's talk about the knitting community for a bit. So the Knitmore girls are doing a cool thing that they're calling 25 Days of Enabling, and they're showing how some indie dyers' yarns knit up. And there are some really cool ones that they've showcased, and it has made me so want to go buy Christmas yarn. I don't have any Christmas yarn. So if you haven't checked that out, hashtag 25 Days of Enabling on Instagram is probably a good place to look, or on their forums. And then beyond that, I've been working on catching up on podcasts. I was a little behind when I left for Thanksgiving, and then I didn't watch or listen for 10 days. And then last week I was doing so much recovering and chores and cleaning that I just didn't watch them either. So a couple weeks of no podcasts kind of made for a little bit of a, of a pile to go through. And I love watching them. And there are so many that I really, really want to keep up with, but I just haven't had a chance. So I'm working on that project. I brought my iPad around the house with me yesterday while I did chores and watched a bunch of stuff. I am pretty well caught up with more of the audio ones. I did listen to a few more while going on the bus last week and at the library and some stuff like that. So I did get a little more caught up with those, but the video ones I definitely am behind on. The audio I also was able, because I had them downloaded, I could listen to them in various places, but I always watch the videos streaming, so the opportunity just wasn't there for those this time. So I'm curious, how do you listen to your podcasts? Do you use a specific app? Do you browse the podcaster sites? Do you subscribe in YouTube? I use Downcast because Downcast will sync between my computer, my iPad, and my phone. This morning it had some weird thing, but for the most part, that is the best way for me to keep in sync so that I can watch and listen wherever I am. I just download the audio ones to my phone. Everything else I watch streaming for the most part. And that works really well for me. And Downcast works with iTunes' list of podcast feeds. So as a podcaster, I don't have to do anything additional to make my podcast available on Downcast, and I really like that. For YouTube, I do upload a separate file. So when I upload to my server and to YouTube. And I think that is one more step I can do to make it easier for people who don't already know me online that are looking for knitting podcasts. And so I don't mind that extra step. If I'm running short on time, that is one of the things that ends up being on the end of my to-do list. But I am trying. I don't think I've missed any of them yet. I think they all have made it onto YouTube, but some of them have been a day late. So, yeah, so I'm curious. I do want to know, how you listen to and watch your podcasts, and you can put it in the episode thread on the Ravelry group. Okay, let's move on to the non-knitting fun. Sagas of Geekery. I got a sticker for my laptop. I have not had a laptop of my own that I could put stickers on until now. This one is pre-owned. It was Eric's business. They were getting rid of some. So, not brand new, but still new to me. The other laptop I had was when I was working for a tech company. It was a loaner. So no stickers on that one. So when I saw, before my trip, Karen Hallian, she's one of my girl artist crushes, I guess. Her and Megan Lara do a lot of fan art, and so I follow the two of them often. And she had a special, and I took advantage of that because she had a really cute Kaylee sticker. The more I get to the happy place I'm at, the more I identify with Kaylee from Firefly. And so I thought that would be a perfect thing for my laptop to remind me. But then I also got another thing of hers that was Kaylee. And I believe it's based on a Norman Rockwell painting of a girl looking in a mirror. But it's Kaylee with her big pink frilly dress and her beautiful parasol. And I have one of the parasols above the studio lights. So at some point I'll have to take you a picture of that. And she's got the happy little lights behind her. And oh, it's so cute. So this is hanging up on the back of the studio lights with some other small art that I have and postcards from friends and stuff. So that was kind of cute and geeky. Okay, so I decided when I got back, because we had talked about a lot of games with some friends on our trip, that I needed to update my list of games that I own on Board Game Geek. Board Game Geek is a database of board games, but you can also use it to record times that you play and make your list of what games you own. And I've been using that to make the list show up on my site of what games I've played. So now the list of games that we own on the shelf are all up to date, and that was really fun. So that was another list I thought about this week. It was also fun. I need to go back and look at this a little more, but I realized this morning that I had a good picture of all of our games from back in April. And I knew where to find it because I had posted it on Rebecca Engineers Falcon, her forum for the Fiber and Dice podcast. In the introductions thread, everybody was talking about games, and so of course I posted a picture of our game shelf. So I think that was back in April. So I took a new picture today. I was going to go through on Flickr, because Flickr used to let you annotate a picture and put titles, and so I was totally going to do that with all the games, and now I realize they've taken that feature away. So that didn't help me. I didn't find an easy solution for doing that on my own. With as many games as were in the picture, I didn't want to just figure out the image map or the CSS to hover over or whatever. That was a little more than I wanted to do today, but I will link to the picture of our game shelf and you can see the funness, and I'll link to the list of games on Board Game Geek. It's really fun to explore new games, and I've been going more often with Eric when he goes to Guardian, the Portland game store, on every other Sunday. They have Euro strategy game day. You can go play any of the games in the library, and you can play with other people or you can play by yourself. This last week we played by ourselves and we played Five Tribes, which I've been really interested to try out. It's a newer one. It's got 5 different colors of meeples that go on this board that changes every time, and it was really good. I think that if I hadn't played Istanbul, which has some similar things to it, if I hadn't played Istanbul, I would have wanted to buy Five Tribes immediately. But in my head, I was kind of comparing it to Istanbul, so we bought Istanbul for ourselves for Christmas. It's still in its shrink wrap. We won't play it until Christmas, but that one I think was superior when looking at that kind of a game. Istanbul has some similarities to Hawaii, which I also really like. So I'm excited about playing that one. And then we played a quick game of Catan Dice, which we'd bought for somebody but never played ourselves. And then we were getting ready to leave, and because we got there a little late, we went to church, and so we got to the game day a little late. Eric saw a game called Sutter's Mill, and it's by Mayfair, so it looked like it could be interesting. The description sounded good. We set it up, we played it. It was just not well executed. It was a little bit older, and just, it wasn't one that I would play again. It was about gold mining. The theory behind it was kind of good. It didn't work so well. And maybe it was just because we were playing it 2-player. Not all games work for 2-player. This one didn't. I wouldn't recommend it. And then there's one other game on our game shelf that is wrapped, that we got in a box that said it was for Eric's birthday. So we went ahead and put it on the shelf, even though we don't know for sure it's a game. It sure looks like a game. So that will be for Eric to open on his birthday, which is next week, next Wednesday. All right, I think that is all of the Sagas of Geekery. Let's move on to the Book of Cooking. Last week, we didn't go grocery shopping when we got home from our trip, and so we were eating just whatever was in the freezer and very light amount of fruits and vegetables because we'd eaten them all before we left, and so that was a challenge. So we didn't really cook too much. There's always, we call this certain kind of soup emergency soup, because we get it, and then if we have nothing else in the house we want to eat, we'll just make this bag of emergency soup. I don't remember the brand, but it's a specific one, and all you have to do is add water. You always have water. So, yeah, there's always food. But this week, yesterday, I cooked a version of my friend Corey. She's Let's Eat Grandpa on various social media and her blog. And I'll link to her recipe for honey chipotle butternut squash. I haven't cooked with ancho chilies in adobo sauce. And so I wasn't sure about that. So I did a little bit of a modification. I did a lot of bit of a modification, actually. And made it into a green chili maple sauce, and then served it with more green chili salsa. And that turned out really good. I had the leftovers for lunch today, and I'm kind of excited to try the actual recipe next, because I love squashes and sweet potatoes, and so finding new variations on them is always nice. Tonight I'm making crepes. Tomorrow I'm making baked potato soup. We're having people over. So there's a little more cooking going on. And as we get into next week with Eric's birthday, I'll be doing some different cooking. And then holiday cooking kind of gets condensed into the week between Eric's birthday and Christmas. So lots of fun stuff coming with that. I'm sure I will have more to report on that in the next week or so. Next week. Oh, or so. Wow. Yes, we're coming right up. All right. Fanciful chatter. Now wearing. Well, first I'll show you my cool earrings. These are some that I consider as Christmas balls. I thought I'd stick them on today because they matched. I am wearing the Austin hoodie. It has a hood. The hood's actually kind of cute. But the fit on it is not great. The length on it is not great. The sleeves on it needed to be longer. I really learned a lot knitting this one. I double-stranded 2 strands of lace weight, and then when I got to this portion here, I added another accent color, which I really liked. I really like how the ribbing looks on this portion up here, and that goes into the hood. It's got that same ribbing. So there's definitely some features I like about this, but it just doesn't fit right, and so I'm not sure. I don't wear it very often, but I thought I'd stick it on today because it is kind of seasonal. When I knit it last year, it was right before Thanksgiving, and so I wore it to Thanksgiving dinner. And it is cozy. I think that the length of the sleeves is probably the part that is the most annoying, but the fit across the shoulders is a little strange as well, and so I always feel like it needs to be pulled. I did learn a lot knitting this sweater. This was my first time doing sleeves like this. I can't think of what kind of sleeve this is, but you go back and forth and back and forth. And I did enjoy that. Connie Chinchillo is the pattern designer. The yarn was Knit Picks Shadow Lace. And I don't wear it very much because of the fit, but I thought I'd throw it on today because it was nice and green and happy, and it was one of my finished objects that I hadn't shown you guys yet. And yeah, it's still a pretty nice cozy one. If I wear a long sleeve shirt under it, then maybe the sleeve length won't bother me. I could go back and try and add more length to it, but I'm not sure that with the fit of the rest of it, it's going to be worth it. So yeah, I could fix the sleeves. I could. That would be doable. I have more yarn, knit that much more. But yeah, so that's what I'm wearing today. And I put on fun eyeshadow that matched it for you as well. Okie dokie. The happiness continues. My Christmas gifts hashtag is still going along. I am having a lot of fun recounting some of the joys of my holiday season. I talked a little bit about that last week. I don't remember how much, but I've been adding my pictures to Instagram and Facebook with all of the fun details. I've talked about nativity scenes and colors of Christmas that I like. And I'm really looking forward to continuing that through Christmas. I am also listening to some Christmas music. For me, that usually means Christian Christmas music, and I've pulled out my playlist and I've added a few new tracks that I didn't have before. I use a library service called Freegal, where you can download free music using your library card. You can check your local library system's website to see if they do that too. And then I go through and I can download up to 5 tracks a week. So I've added a few things that way, and then I purchased a few other albums that I had my eye on to kind of enhance my Christian Christmas music playlist, because those inspirational things really keep me happier. So I need to write up a list of the artists that are on my list so that you guys can see. And I would love, when you are adding your notes about how you listen to the podcast, I'd love to hear if you have any favorite Christmas music for the holiday season. I know not everybody celebrates Christmas. Go ahead and put other kinds of celebratory music that you're listening to. That would be awesome too. And finally, I've been kind of thinking about some more ideas of enhancing my bullet journal, because I'm not really using it too much as a bullet journal. Just some ideas for condensing and possibly getting a hole punch so I can put regular paper. The grid lines and the lines on the regular paper is a little bit wider than I like, and I could see punching my own pages with some pre-cut patterns. I know that Heather Zapretti of Spring Sprout. I can't always remember. She's Digital Nobby on Instagram and Twitter. She often posts pictures of how her bullet journal is working, and it's been really inspiring to see. So for the coming year, I don't line up my pages and get them all ready, but I just kind of am looking forward to making a plan for how I want to organize in the near future. And on that note, I will say this is the end. You can follow me around on the internet as Christine with a K on Ravelry. I am KDLB, just the letters, on Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest. You can find the Facebook fan page at facebook.com/Yarnings. And the Ravelry group, you can search for Ravelry. You can search Ravelry for the Yarnings podcast and join our lovely group and introduce yourself. And finally, you can find all of the show notes on yarningspodcast.com, all squished together. So until next time, thanks for watching, guys. That's the story. Bye.